Welcome all to the weekly outlook. Boone here from EWPRO. Getting straight into the weekly outlook, starting with the DXY. Nothing's really changed on the daily. We got that WXY. We're looking for that X2 down to the 38.2, and then we're looking for that Z up. If we go down to the lower time frame H4, we can see that what I'm looking at here, we got this wave A, and then we've got an A, B, C. We do have bearish divergence here, and we have a ball hidden. I'm expecting this a little bit more downside in here, but it can go from here, bounce off this trend line and give us another one up. So yeah, this may fall over when we go down to the H1. We got a break. Like I was mentioning last week, we're looking for a correction in here, and any setup you get, look for the sell. We got a little trend line break in here. It's come back above the trend line, this trend line here, and bounced off this trend line. Doesn't mean it's over. For the sell, if you get any little sell set up in here, you can look for the sell and down to that 100 fib. For the buy, you have to break above this top, then give you a correction or flag, and then you can look for the buy to go and break the top. AU on the daily. So I've gone through all this before. If you want to look at that, you can go and have a look at the previous videos. So we're just looking at this last section here. If I just zoom it out a bit. So we're looking for, we got this wave down here in wave A. We lost all the bullish divergence. So I was just looking for a correction and then another one down. We did get another one down, but this is looking like a B wave in here. So ideally we get an A, some sort of a B, and then we get a C to finish off this B wave, and then we get the A, B, C. On the H4, like I've mentioned, there is a couple of different scenarios. We were looking for this one up here to the 100 fib. It's hit that 100 fib. I can remove this arrow, get it out the way. This is still valid. This is still valid as a scenario. We get, there's two scenarios, like I mentioned last week. We either get an A, all this is B, and we get the C up to finish off the daily B wave. Or this becomes more complex and we get an A, B, C in here for a running flat. And then we get the A, B, C. Then we get the larger A, B, C finishing off the B wave. So there is a couple of different scenarios here. Last week I said, you know, if you get any short setup, you know, you could look for the sell. If you took this, well, you either got break even or you took a little hit. Now we're getting bearish divergence. So now we're getting bearish divergence. So it's very risky to buy. This may be an A, B, C in here for a little flat. If that's the case, you can only buy above that top. And you'll be only looking for an A, B, C. You only be looking for a little bit more upside. For the sell, we have bearish divergence. You want the breakdown, a bearish setup, and then you look for that sell. EU on the daily. So we got that WX extended wave Y. We're looking for that X2 up to 38.2 and then the Z down. H4, as you can see, nothing's changed since last week. We're looking for that WXY, X2 and a Z down. We have the bear hidden. So any sell setup that you get, you can look for the sell setup. This is still looking rather bullish up here in this X2. It hadn't fallen over. We already have bearish divergence, so it's a very risky to buy. It's not to say that you can't buy, but it does become risky because we already have that bearish divergence. For the sell, you know, you got an A, B, C in here. So if you get a break below that bottom, you could put a sell stop just under that low there, and you're looking for it to go and break that low. And your targets will be the 161.8 and the 123.6, or the 123.6 and the 161.8. You can put them on your charts yourself for the targets. But like I said, this is still looking rather bullish. I'd have to go down onto the lower time frames, and you'll see it's not giving us that impulse down and correction to sell yet. GU on the daily. So we're looking at that WXY. We're looking for that X2 up to the 38.2 and then the Z down. H4, we're looking for a, this is the wrong time frame. I'll do that. So we got that WXY, excuse me, X2, and then we got the Z down. We had that bear hidden here, so we're looking for this to go and break the low. The problem is, like I've mentioned, we got an A wave up in here. This is looking like a B wave, so we can just get a C up to this 100 fib here, like I mentioned, and then we get the larger A, B, C. So we're looking for the buys. And again, I can take this arrow off. It's correcting in here. Again, this may be the end of the wave C. And we just get this as an A, B, C. And then we get a larger A, B, C. And we don't get the Z down. We already have the bearish divergence. So it makes it very difficult. You still can look for the buy, targeting the 100 fib, but we already have that bearish divergence and it didn't go. So it becomes very difficult. This, if you got in on the breakout, you'd have your stop loss under here, of course. So you still would be in this trade. You'd want to consider if you want to get out at break even wherever you got in, you know, because again, prices broken out of the trend line and come back under the trend line. Doesn't mean it won't go, but you'll have to look on the lower time frames to see what's happening in here. More than likely there's a WXY, you'll get an X2, and then there's another one up as wave Z, and then it could fall over on you. So you have to be very careful of that. We are, if you do get the buy, another buy setup, you know, we are targeting that 38.2, but it's in a wave X2 on the daily. So, you know, this can become very choppy all the way up to this 38.2 because it's in a correction. So looking at the NU on the daily. So we got that WXY, like I've mentioned. We're looking for a correction a similar size to this over here. So this can become very complex, and as we can see with the price action, we got an A, B, we may get a C up here, and then we get an A, B, C for more downside in this wave Y. That's another scenario that we have to, we can't rule it, we can't rule that out. When you look on the H4, you can see what I'm looking for. Nothing's changed since last week. We're looking for the buy up to this 100 pip. As I said, you don't want to miss this, because this may be the end of wave Y and we go up to that 38.2, or this is just an A, B, C. Take half off and just let the rest run, or unless you get a sell set up, then you could get out of your second half of your buy and you'd be looking for the short for the A, B, C. UY on the daily. So we got this WX extended wave Y. We don't have any bearish divergence. So we're just looking for a correction in X2 and then a Z up. H4, it can become quite complex, may not be over. Like we had this, if I just show you again, we got that WXY, X2, we had the ball hidden, we're looking for this Z up. We lost all the divergence, and then we started to get the divergence. So we were looking for the sell last week. I said any sell setup that you get, look for that sell. The problem is this second scenario here that I mentioned last week as well. You know, this can be an A, B, C, and then you get that A, B, C for a flat, and then you get the larger A, B, C. So you really wanted to be on this one here. If you didn't get on that one, it becomes risky. We quickly go down to the H1. You can see what I'm looking at. We're looking for a motive structure, a WX, Y, X2, and a Z down. So you can, if you get a correction in X2, you can look for that Z down, and you'll be targeting the 123.6 and the 161.8. It's too early to draw that because we haven't got this X2 yet. So you can't draw the targets until you get the correction. Moving on to the Swissy. We got this WXY. We're looking for that X2 and then a Z up. Again, when we go down to the lower time frames, like I've mentioned, on the lower time frame, H4, we got that WXY, X2, and we're looking for that Z up. The Z up never went, and it never broke that top. So this can become more complex for that X2 on the daily because this never went and broke that top. These corrections were of a similar size in time. So for that not to go means something's wrong. It still may give another one up here and become more complex, like for an A, B, C. You know, you get 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and you may get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down in here, or you might get 3 down in here, or you might just get an impulse in here as a complex correction, 333 or 335 pattern. So it becomes difficult on the H1. Excuse me, we got the 5 up in the wave A. We are starting to get bullish divergence, so definitely start to look for this buy for the A, B, C. Again, the first target, you'll be targeting that 100 fib. For the buy, you really want break above the top and then a bullish setup to buy. For the sell, it's getting risky because we are starting to get that bullish divergence. If you did get in on this little flat in here, more than likely you'd be at break even because you would have taken it on the lower time frames. If you do get another little setup in here, you could take a look for it, but it becomes risky. But in saying that, we know a B wave can go and break this low. So, you know, you pretty much can trade both ways, but it is riskier to sell than it is to buy. Like I mentioned, for the buy, you want it to break above here, give you a correction or flag, and then look for that buy setup to buy. UCAD on the daily. So we got this big move down. We're looking at the A, B, C. It never got up to that 100 fib. It was starting to look like it was got up there, but we are getting bearish divergence between the two tops, and even the A wave and the C wave, we're getting that bearish divergence. So it becomes very risky to be buying. On the H4, it's become quite complex. Like I've mentioned, we got 3 up in here, breaking the top. So we can look at this as an A, B, C as a running or expanding flat. And then you get like the A, B, C up in here. I said, you know, we had that bearish divergence last week. So any sell setup, there was a little sell setup in here I mentioned, and that went. If you got on that, you've done well. You want to keep that trade until you see this reversing. If we quickly go down onto the H1, you can see what I'm looking for. I was looking for an A, B, C. We got a C down breaking the low. It never went too far though, and we got the bullish divergence. So more than likely this is over. We get break above this top, bullish setup. If you get the bullish setup, look for the buy to go and break that top for that scenario I was just showing you on the H4. GY on the daily. We got the 5 up with the bearish divergence. We got a nice impulse down, but then we got another impulse. So this is looking corrective up here. Like I've mentioned, this is what I'm looking for. I was actually looking for this wave here to go a little bit further, actually to give it a WXY, an X2 and a Z up. That's still not out of the question to finish off this B wave. And then we get that A, B, C. Or this is more complex and we've got a contracting flat in here and it's an A, B completed, and then we get the C down. You need to get a sell set up to sell. When we look at the H1, we do have, excuse me, we do have a bullish hidden here. It's not the best looking. We're broken out of the trend line. We're looking at a WXY, looking for an X2 and then a Z up with that bull hidden in play, but it's very unlikely that this will give that Z up. It's not impossible, but you need that bullish setup to buy. Without that, you're looking for sells. You really, more than likely you get a little WXY here, and then an X2, and then a Z down in here, finishing off that move, and then giving you that Z up. The invalidation point is this here. So if price does come down here, breaks this low here, and then gives you a bearish correction, you really want a correction, and then you could look for the sell. EG on the daily. Like I've mentioned many times before, there's 2 scenarios here. I'm looking at it as an A, B, C, not what I've got it drawn here. It doesn't really matter the count, because the count's going in the same direction. We've got that WXY, X2 and the choppy Z down. We're looking for the buy. I'm looking for that buy up to the 100 fib for this A, B, C. It still hasn't got up to that 100 fib, as you can see, and it's very choppy, extremely choppy. Last week we had this in here. I said you can sell this, and it looks like you're getting another one. So you get a WXY, X2 and a Z down. We don't have any bullish divergence, and we are getting a bear hidden here. So if you get any sell set up, you can look for that Z down. For the buy, you really need to take out this possible bear hidden first, and then give you a bullish setup flag or correction. Gold on the daily. So we're sort of looking at an A, B, C in here. And then we get an A, B, C. This is quite difficult. Just to structure. This one here did break that low. It did go and break that low. So if this is an expanding flat in here, you need that buy setup on the lower time frames to look for that buy. And we are looking at it as an X2 on the weekly. So eventually we are looking to go and break that top, but does it go from here or no? Where does it go from? If we look on the H4, you can see what I'm looking at. We got a WXY X2 and we're getting extended wave down in wave Z. A possible extended wave in here. We're only looking for the buys for this X2. More than likely we will get a sell on this because we'll get bearish hidden here and then we'll get this Z down to finish off the wave Z. The problem is, again, we lost all the bullish divergence like I've mentioned. So we are just looking for a correction, another one down, giving us that bullish divergence, and then we can all look for the buys. Until we get that, it's very difficult to buy and be confident that it's going to be the reversal. On the H1, we got all that bullish divergence, which is nice, and we got a nice impulse up. You need to wait for a correction here now, H1 correction, and then you get an A, B, C, or it may be complex and give you an X2 and a wave Z for the X2, and then we'll be looking for downside. Onto the Bitcoin. Not sure where all my tools are, all my accounts. Oh, don't know. Okay, so we're looking at an A, B, C. We got that. Now, does this reverse from here and go and break that top? Well, it's possible. I wish I had my counts on. Not sure why they're not on. Huh. I'll have to look at that. Okay. So on the H4, we don't have any bullish divergence yet. So we're looking at a WXY with a WXY X2 and a Z down in here in the wave Y, and then we're looking for, we got a bear hidden here. So you have that bear hidden. So any sell setup you get, it looks like you're getting a little sell setup in here. You can look for that sell to go and break that low. I can put that targets on the chart because we have the correction. Settings. So we're looking for the 161.8 and the 123.6 as your targets. Yeah, so we're looking at a WXY X2 and a Z down. This may not be over in here. We'll have to look on the H1 to see what's going on in here. It is looking very bearish here though. Again, we have a, what's this on here? We have a, yep, we have a bear hidden here. So this may be, if you get any sell set up, you really, now you really want to just put a sell stop just under this low with your stop loss above the high. If you get triggered, you put your stop loss just above the high in here, and you'll be looking for that 123.6 and the 161.8 in the wave Z. WTI. So we got the 5 up, like I've mentioned, and we lost all that bearish divergence. So we're just looking for a correction in here. When we look at it, you can see what I'm looking at. An A, B, C. So we may get the A, B, C up in here before we get the larger A, B, C. It may become more complex in here. On the H4, we can see what I'm looking at. Very similar to Bitcoin, we got that WXY, X2, and wave Z in the wave Y. So we're looking at WXY, X2, and a Z down. We're looking for that Z down. We have the bear hidden in play, so we want to get that Z down, give us some bullish divergence, and then you can look for the buy. Till you get that bullish divergence, it's very risky to buy. On the H1, as you see, we got this wave up. There's a little sell set up in there. It didn't go again, like most of them. That bearish setup never went. So yeah. But again, it's bearish. You know, this may be a larger correction in here, and you get another one up, and then you get that like WXY, X2, Z down, breaking the low, giving you a bullish divergence again, and yeah. Oh, sorry. Oh, I must have been looking at a different Bitcoin. Oh, I was looking at Brent oil. Sorry. Now we get on to now we get onto the Bitcoin, and we have the counts. So we got that A, B, C in here. It hasn't quite got down to that 100 fib. This is still looking rather bearish in here. Do we have bullish divergence? I remember looking at it. It's so close. I would call it as that we are getting bullish divergence, but this is still looking bearish. So if we look on the H4, and this is why it's looking bearish, we got that WXY, X2, Z down. We lost all that bullish divergence. So I was only looking for a correction in here and another one down, giving us that bullish divergence. This is looking very corrective. So it's very difficult to buy this. You know, we really want to see it go and break that low, and then you can load up on your buys. When we have this bullish divergence, until you get that, it's very risky to buy, because we're in a correction. On the H1, you can see how choppy this is. Last week, we were looking for this to go and break the low. For an A, B, C in here, and then it goes and breaks the low. We're looking for the bearish setup. It's given another one up, and I did mention that this can be that flat if you go back through last week and we get an A, B, C, and we get another high. Do we have bearish divergence now? No, we don't. So you can still look for the buy, and it does look like you're getting a, well, not really yet. You know, you want this to come down, break this low, and then, you know, break above this top, give you a little flag, something to buy, and then buy. Yeah. If you get a buy set up, you can look for the buy. If you get a sell set up, like this is a sell set up in here on the lower time frames. If you took that, well, you'd be getting it to break even now. If you get a little bearish setup in here, well, you can look for the sell. SPX on the daily. So we're looking for that WXY. This may be the end of the wave Y, and then we get an X2 and then a Z down. But either way, this, I'm sort of looking at an A, B, C in here. I don't really like it, like I've mentioned, but If we go to the H4, you can see what I'm looking at. This is quite impulsive and this is quite impulsive. Now we're getting the correction in here. So we've got an A, B, C in here. We do have the bearish divergence. So this can be an A, B, C, and then you get that A, B, C, finishing off this daily X2 before you get like the Z down. So this may turn quite complex at this stage. I'd be looking for the sell to go and break this low. Well, to go and break that low for at least an A, B, C, and go and break that low, sorry. Yeah, H1, do we have bearish divergence? No, we don't have a bearish divergence. So you, on the H1, you still can look for the buy. You may get like an A, all this is a B, spike down in here for a C, and then if you get the bullish setup, you could look for that buy. But until you get this, you can't look for the buy, and you'd be more interested in a sell. So if this gives us a little sell setup in here, you can look for the sell. A U200 on the daily. So like I've mentioned, we got that W very deep correction in X, and then we got that wave while we're looking for an X2 and then a Z down. You can see that this is quite choppy and corrective, so it's sort of fitting with the pattern that we're looking at on the daily. On the H4, we're still looking for more downside. We're looking at that WXY, X2, and then a Z down. So any sell setup you get, look for that sell. On the H1, I don't think we have any bearish divergence here yet, unfortunately. No, I don't think we do. So again, this may just give you another one down here for an A, B, C, and then you get that A, B, C. But at this stage, if you get any little bearish setup in here, look for that, even if it just turns into a similar size wave as this. You want to jump on this because it may go and fall over from here, you know, and break that low for the Z down. So any sell setup that you get, you definitely don't want to miss the sells. Looking at the DAX on the daily, this is very difficult as well. Like we've mentioned, we got that W, very deep correction in X2, wave Y, and we're looking for the Z down with that bear hidden. Oh, sorry, this one didn't give that bear hidden. But we're just looking for an A, B, C in here, and this C wave never went and broke that top. Instead, we've got three down. We've got 1, 2, 3 in here. I think that has broken the low. Yeah, it has broken the low. What to do now? Look on the H4. Looks like you're getting a bullish setup. So you want another one down in here, break out, and look for your buy for a W, X, Y, X2, and that Z up. And last of all, the FTSE. This is very complex as well, extremely choppy. We've got an impulse down, very deep pullback. This is looking like our correction in here, so we may get that A, B, C up in here before we get the A, B, C. Yeah, really choppy to trade. As you can see, we're looking for that buy last week. We did get a breakout. Did it break above this top? No, it hasn't broken above that top. It hasn't broken above this top, and this is more of a bearish setup. So what you really need to do, I'll go down to the H1. So we got this is bearish, but this is more than likely just an A, B, C in here. And then you get like either a motive structure or just an A, B, C. So what you'd want to do is draw your trend line when you can. Get a breakdown here, and then if you get any bullish setup, you could look for that buy. The sell, you can look for the sell. I think the sell is going to be a little bit difficult because, like I said, we may just get a C down in here for an A, B, C, giving us bullish divergence, and then, you know, you look for that buy. We have a break of the tops, you know. So, yeah, I hope you enjoyed the weekly outlook. If you did, please hit the like button, share, subscribe to help the channel out. Enjoy your weekend, and I'll see you out there next week.